It was 165 plays. Good workout. Wasn't quite warm enough. It was a little warmer than it's been. But we need a little bit of hot weather. It's been a little bit too cool, but got a lot of snaps in. A lot of kids are going to have some chances to watch film, of themselves in the stadium. And I thought the kids played hard. They were tired. We just had, 13 practices or something, and so I'm not sure we were at top-end speed all the time, but I think they were trying to be, and that's what's important. And the hitting was good, and now the coaches will have a marathon film grading session to see where we need to go from here.
What stood out? Anything?
Well, there weren't many turnovers, and that's why, it's a real simple game. Defense needs takeaways, and they may have had 2 or 3, but that probably out of 160-some plays won't do it. Plus, I thought some guys made some plays.
Including?
Well, Dane Sanzenbacher jumps out at me. Made some very impressive plays. Brian Hartline, Boom Heron was probably the leading carrier. Mo Wells, although looked very solid. Chris didn't play. I thought all the quarterbacks, Joe Bowserman made a play that I told him it's going to be on SportsCenter tonight. And
we don't have any video.
Oh yeah, we do. We have video. And it was one of those ones where he scrambled out and was going out of bounds, and he held the ball out with his left arm and inside the cone. And Terrell had some big plays, running and passing. Todd looked very solid. Defensively, obviously the guys that show up were showing up. James and Marcus and Cameron and Lawrence, and so it was good competition. The guys up front offensively, I thought, did a pretty good job protecting. It was a little bit, with Todd in black, wasn't 100% realistic, but Terrell and Joe both wore red, and so they got to run around and be live. But we'll have to watch the film. But I think we made some progress today, which is important. And all of the guys, you guys might have to put in for overtime, because all 25 of the guys that are seniors are to come down and give you a little state of the state address. So hope you brought enough tape in there.
Jim, Pryor's first shot really in game day conditions in the stadium, how do you think he responded to that?
I think he did well. Terrell's one of those guys that he's got good presence. He doesn't look like a freshman from a standpoint of, wondering what's going on out there. I mean, he's very calm. He's very tough on himself. He can keep a play alive, as you could imagine, and he can do some things with his feet. I think there was only one designed run. He had a quarterback draw for a touchdown, but he kept some plays alive with his feet, as did Joe. Todd really wasn't allowed to, because he couldn't run with the black jersey. But Terrell's got a good presence about him for a young guy. He's played in a lot of big games, looks to me like he's going to be very, very good.
We've seen some quarterbacks here, Steve Belisari, even Troy, try to do too much with their feet at times. And I guess you'd think that maybe Terrell might fall into that category. Does he show any of those tendencies to try to do too much?
There are some quarterbacks that even if the Red Sea was out there, they wouldn't run. And there are others who take off too soon. I would say that Terrell falls more toward the Red Sea group. He's going to find someone to throw it to. He's a thrower. And now, if the team needs him to take off and go, and that seems to be the best thing, he's going to do that, and do it well, very well. But he's not a guy that I think your evaluation on Troy, for instance, I don't know when Steve was young, but Troy, when he was young, he wanted to run. He could solve all the problems with his feet. And Terrell's not that way at all. Terrell wants to solve all the problems with his eyes. That's different.
Would you feel comfortable putting him in a game?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Jim, 25 with this wealth of maturity and this wealth of returning guys, was this scrimmage different than the years past? You know, did you notice any difference because of the number of guys coming back in any way?
Not really. The competitiveness is, no matter how old they are, they want the jerseys. And plus they talk all the time. You know, they're talking trash to each other 24 hours a day. And whenever anyone would make a big play, one sideline would be, you know, going crazy, and then the other team would make a big hit or something, and they'd be, you know. So no, it was fairly, you know, fairly similar. It was our first use of that new clock system, you know, and so that made it a little bit different. But outside of that, not much different.
Jim, you said a while ago when you were asked Terrell would play or could play. Do you see enough of him now that you are factoring him into the scheme of things?
I think so. You know, I think you factor any way you can to, you know, to have all of your possible weapons available to become as good as you can become, and most especially at the quarterback position.
Can we get updates on Chris Wells? Maybe is there a rationale why he didn't play, and Brian Robisky, where things kind of.
Well, Brian got dinged a little bit in the shoulder, and you know that was a trainer's decision. Chris was probably a coach's decision.
In other words,
As in the head coach.
I know, but as in you don't need to see him, or is there?
I've seen Beanie. He's pretty good.
Does that indicate that you do still have concerns with his wrist or ankle or
No.
anything, or is it just?
No. We did want to see Boom run it a lot because, you know, Boom we think is going to be a real contributor. Mo Wells is always a guy, you know, that we think is solid, and we wanted to get Boom in some of those pass situations where, you know, he hasn't been in from a assignment standpoint, protection, that which is a lot more complicated than what one might think. And, you know, I watch Chris in passing drills. He's our best pass protector. I watch him in running drills. He's probably our best runner. And so I thought those other guys needed a little bit more.
Do you have a timetable for Brian as far as what do you think?
I think he'll be back next week. Yeah.
Did you get out today relatively injury-free?
Yeah, not bad. Lawrence got dinged a little bit and didn't play the last 10 or 15 plays or something like that, but you know, we don't think it's anything, you know, bottom of the pile, landed on by about 15 people, you know. You know, outside of that, you know, yeah, I think it was. I think we were tired enough that we weren't running that fast to hurt each other. I mean, it was 165 plays. Is a lot of plays.
Jim, this is always tough when you scrimmage yourself. It's, you know, half full, half empty, no matter what. You talked about the defense not forcing that many turnovers. They've talked a lot about how they want to make more big plays this year. Did you get a feel that that was more defense's lack of playmaking, or like you said earlier, the offense making big plays?
You know, there weren't many errant throws. The ball got knocked loose from a running standpoint. Terrell fumbled one that the defense got after he'd rushed for about 20 yards. Joe Gantz had a fumble. There was a kind of a deflected pass that went up in the air that got picked. You know, Todd was, you know, pretty careful with the ball. And Mo and Danny Herron, you know, did a good job of handing the ball to the official. So, you know, I don't know for sure what takeaways are a result of, but they make the difference. So we'll keep talking about it and keep working on it, and on both sides.